Thanks for joining us.
No problem.
And to begin with, if you can just talk a bit about StIR education and what sort of communities or people does it engage with as beneficiaries?
Sure. So stratification believes that the most important person in a classroom is the teacher, and what we work towards is to develop the intrinsic motivation of the teacher, uh, not just the teacher, but the entire system that supports the teacher in the classroom. And therefore, our intervention is at a large scale with the governments towards creating the environment and the behaviors that can help build intrinsic motivation for teachers, which eventually leads to student outcomes at a large scale.
Nice. And when you are in education sector as an NGO, you end up collecting a lot of data.
Yeah.
So in your organization, what sort of data do you collect? And how important is it for you to kind of have it in a more seamless manner?
So data is obviously very critical to us. The kind of data that we collect is a lot of behavioral indicators. We look for certain behaviors that are exhibited by the teachers, the principals, the officials, and this is a very critical part of what we do. It gets reflected on a very frequent basis, and that is and the design iterations happen based on that. And this is like the program entirely depends on the data that we collect. So yeah.
All right. And w- can you just share some thoughts on what challenges were you facing with this data in probably a couple of years back when you were dealing with it before thinking about some platform as Dalgo to adopt?
Yeah. So yeah, we were looking at multiple platforms before. We had using different data collection platforms, trying to do visualization with whatever free tools were available and all. A lot of the challenges was about, like I said, we do frequent iterations, monthly reflections, quarterly reflections, and all. Compiling the data into a presentable form so that the teams can understand and make interpretations out of it, and to be able to iterate on the design was a challenge. It involved a lot of time, effort, not just that, it also we had to go back to a lot of data cleaning, accuracy, a huge amount of manpower went into it. So that was a huge challenge for us back then.
And now if we shift some gears towards like the process. So how did it look before and who were the people, so process and the people involved in that data journey before Dalgo came into the picture?
The people remain the same, as in the district leads who work with us, who are in the field collecting data and monitoring the program, implementing the program is one. There is a design team which looks at the data and then decides what iteration to make in terms of design. And then we have the monitoring and evaluation team, which sets up the process, ensures that everything flow through seamlessly, and tries to help the team to make better decisions and to reflect on the data. Apart from this, we also have the leadership team who are looking at the overall progress. We are also reporting to the board, to the donors, and so a huge spectrum of people who are involved with the data at different levels and different aggregations and different processes. Like I said, I think I've also mentioned that a few of the things like the monthly reflections, the quarterly reflections, the annual reflections, the reporting to the board, and various other. I mean, these are the various processes that were involved in the data as such.
Great. And now if we move into this other aspect where now you are using Dalgo for your data needs and to draw insights from your data. So how has that transformation been for the organization?
It has been transformational to say the least. Uh, a lot of processes have been automated now. The problem that I mentioned before, where a lot of manpower went into cleaning the data, presenting it in a form that can be utilized by the teams to easily reflect upon. It has become much more simplified now. It saves us a lot of time and effort in terms of making sure that these reports are available on time. In fact, we've gone to a stage where some of it has been uploaded to the teams, the district team themselves. So they're able to do the monthly reflections themselves, and the monitoring and evaluation team only comes in at a quarterly level to just help them consolidate the learnings over a period of time. So a lot of capacity building also has been facilitated through this. Apart from obviously making it much easier for the entire organization to access the data at any point of time. So yeah.
Thanks. And if we get into, say, numbers, which is what data is, so what sort of numbers are you dealing with? What does the data set look like for you in the expanse of it? What are some of the tools that you have in that entire process of collecting, reflecting on it in other ways? If you can just share some numbers on that, and also how many hours are probably saved post Dalgo, so pre and post that comparison.
So our data set is more wide than deep. As in, we have more than 100 columns of data that we collect in every observation. The number of observations are few because we are a systemic level intervention. We're not actually directly implementing on the ground touching features. So in terms of the depth, it will probably be around 20 to 25,000 records. But in terms of columns, it's about 100. So it's a lot of qualitative, a lot of quality parameters that we look at. Yeah, that's one part of the question. So that's the amount of data that we look at. So before we looked at multiple tools, like we had different data collection tools. Obviously, was one of them. In terms of visualization, we were trying Zoho, as well as we were also looking at Data Studio for visualization. But now, after transferring to Dalgo, it has now become superset, and the Dalgo is taking up the backend processes. So every monthly reflection involved at least 2 days of work for the monitoring and evaluation team, and we were doing it for every region. So which means like if we had then we had 6 regions, 6 regions, and which means 6 monthly reflections, almost a day to day and a half for each region. So that was the amount of time that was going in for preparing the monthly reviews. And then when we had the quarterly reviews, it was much longer, and the annual reviews took at least a week for the team to prepare. Now it is far more automated. I think with one person working one day, we're able to generate the necessary reports for all the regions. So it's a fivefold decrease in terms of time used for generating the reports that we need.
Wonderful. And like you said that you're working with government, and most of the times there's a lot of questions that come from that side of how and why the intervention is working, and data kind of supports and backs that that intervention is actually working on ground. So how has that sort of reporting changed for you externally?
Externally, actually, I think it has become much more simpler. We are able to communicate in much more simpler language because we also get a lot more clarity when we look at it with the kind of visualization that we have right now. Before, the capability to generate such visualizations was slightly limited, but right now, because a lot of the data processes are taken care of by Dalgo, the visualizations is where we start focusing on, and the storytelling is what we are able to focus on a lot more. So irrespective of the questions that come forth from us, be it from donors, be it from the government, we are able to focus a lot more on building the story rather than on working on the data towards building the story. The data and the necessary uh, inputs that are required to build the story is actually forming by itself, and we are focusing more on the communication part. How do we effectively communicate it? So it has helped us communicate much more strongly, and to say that these are the metrics that we're working on, this is what is happening, a lot more confidently.
Nice. And if in this story now we bring in an imaginative twist and Dalgo disappears tomorrow,
Right.
so what do you think would change?
A lot would change. So, like I said, the amount of work that we'll have to put in again will increase drastically, which also, I mean, the team would also, I think in a way we become a lot dependent on the data that we are able to generate so easily right now. And without Dalgo, we might quite struggle to go back and do the same process over and over again to generate the information, to iterate on the program and the design. It's going to become a lot more difficult. Apart from the time, it is also the focus, right? The monitoring and evaluation team itself is now able to focus on what metrics, like the nuances of the monitoring rather than on the numbers of the monitoring. So it makes a huge difference because the M&E team is the one that pushes the design and the program team towards improving the program in certain ways, not just giving the numbers, right? Now we are able to focus and dedicate time on that rather than on generating the reports and giving the. So if Dalgo disappears tomorrow, it might actually cause a huge cascading effect across the organization.
Hopefully it does not, and we are not actually anyways
You better not.
not like wanting to do that. But that brings me to the other question that since there's a lot of clarity that I see in the way data is collected, visualized, and integrated into your practices. So what does the trajectory now look like that Dalgo is in the picture? So say next 1 year, 2 year, or even 6 months. So is there a plan on how do you want to scale?
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the key things that we are right now starting to look at is leveraging the qualitative information. So far, the quantitative information has been playing the major role. Qualitative data is analyzed and looked at, but to a smaller degree. But that we know that that is where the rich information comes from, the qualitative data, right? So we want to focus a lot more on bringing the qualitative data into the picture and to cross verify the quantitative data as well to bring out more insights from the field that can help us move forward better. Apart from that, we are also looking at a lot more customized dashboards. Right now, what we managed to do is backend processes are smoothened. There is one visualization or a common visualization that everybody uses. Now we want to get into more customized views, which can help the particular stakeholder may take actions based on that. So that's the direction we've started moving towards, creating a dashboard that can help them make decisions on a day-to-day basis, uh, do their work more effectively, whatever level they are in. So that's the trajectory we're heading towards the next year.
Amazing. And what would be some closing thoughts for an NGO which is looking to start on its data journey and is still sitting on piles of data?
So sitting on piles of data is actually it can be a boon or a bane. But I think having a support system like Dalgo is going to help a lot because I think one of the major things that NGOs struggle with is the technical expertise and the support that is needed. A lot of investment and drive is put towards the program, and processing this data is a technical work. It is difficult to sustain resources and to keep them motivated in this kind of a role in the NGO sector. It is quite difficult. Given that having a system that can actually do this part to a larger degree, even someone semi-technical can handle a large chunk of the work. And therefore, it is imperative that if you're sitting on piles of data, you should definitely look at supporting, taking support from someone like Dalgo, and therefore get again same thing. Talking from our example, start focusing more on what needs to be done, what is the mission of the organization, rather than on spending time and resources on the data itself. So yeah, I think it is critical to look at.
And on that positive note, I think we'll end the conversation. Thank you so much, Arun. It's been
Thank you so
brilliant
much.
having you.
Love you.